Hey everybody, it's Daniel for Mobile Syrup, and I wanted to show you the Incredible S from HTC. This is the 4-inch Super LCD display and 1 GHz Snapdragon 2nd generation processor, 768 megs of RAM, 8 megapixel camera with dual LED flash, Wi-Fi, GPS, front-facing camera 1.3 megapixel, a new device that was announced at CES, and it's got pretty similar specs to the Desire HD. In fact, besides the 1.3 megapixel camera and the changeable touch buttons down here that actually rotate, which I'll show you later, it is a pretty similar device. They seem to have found a comfort level with this single core Snapdragon processor, and they're going to use it until the end of line. So let's give you a quick hardware overview. Left hand side you have the volume rocker. It's a little bit hard to press in the sense that it doesn't stick out all that much. I like the low profile trend with HTC phones these days, but I think that this is a little bit difficult to actually distinguish between up and down. Again, there's no delineation between up and down. On the left hand side you also have the micro USB port, which is kind of in a cage. I'm not sure I like this. It's a little bit ugly, but it certainly protects the port better than it would without it. On the bottom you have the the microphone and the latch for the battery. On the right hand side there's nothing. It would be nice to have a dedicated camera button, but I don't think HTC really cares about that, as they haven't implemented that on any of their devices except the G2. There's the power button on the top, another noise cancelling microphone, and the 3.5mm headphone jack. I actually really like the placement and tactile feedback of the power button. I think they've really nailed it here. On the back of the device you have this reverse kind of vacuum design that was debuted with the first Incredible. I like it. I don't think it adds anything to the phone. However, I think it's necessary, and I'll show you why in a second. This is the 8 megapixel camera and dual LED flash. And now the reason that they probably needed to keep this this vacuum, reverse vacuum design is the 8 megapixel camera is using the same sensor as on the Desire HD, and as I'll show you in a second, there is a protruding, very, very pronounced protrusion on the Desire HD that they needed to avoid with this, so that when you lie it flat on the when you lie it flat on a surface, there's no damage to the camera. So when you take off the back, now this is not a unibody design. It's a lot more practical. It also makes it a little bit thicker than it would be otherwise, but it allows for very easy battery and SIM card removal. So you have the 1450 milliamp hour battery here. So you see here, there is still quite a big size lens and sensor here. They haven't quite gotten a 8 megapixel lens down to the same size as the 5 megapixel cameras. So the backing accommodates that very well, and this is apparently the it's a copper antenna connector, so it should improve signal when it's connected. And this is a matte plastic. It's well made. It's much more sturdy than the Atrix plastic, and it's well appreciated, although it would be nice to be aluminum, but that would add a lot of heft to the device. And it does snap on very securely, which I appreciate. The front of the device is aluminum, and you can see that this bezel here is very similar to the Desire HD, to the Desire S, and previous HTC phones. So turning it on, 800 by 480 display, Super LCD. It's different to the regular TFT LCDs on previous phones, and very much improved over the 3.7-inch AMOLED display that debuted with the Nexus 1, the Desire, and this one's predecessor, the Incredible, on Verizon. Now, you can tell that they've really upped the color saturation on here. It's very vivid. They've made it very sharp for a 4-inch display. Obviously, the pixels are going to be bigger than on a 3.7-inch display at the same resolution, but you really can't tell the difference, in my opinion, between this and, say, the Atrix, unless you're looking for actual pixel size. The Atrix can fit a lot more on the screen at once because the pixel density is greater, but the pixel size on this is a little bit greater as well. So what you get with this, you get the 768 megs of RAM, you get a single core 1 gigahertz second generation Snapdragon. It's the 8255 CPU and the Adreno 205 GPU, and while this has obviously been bested in terms of overall specs by the Tegra 2 and the upcoming dual-core Scorpion 8660 Snapdragon processor that is debuting with the Pyramid and the HTC Evo 3D, that shouldn't be coming until the mid-year. And what you can tell with HTC is that they didn't try to break any boundaries. They're not going for speed records here. They're going for a unified experience, much the way that Apple marries their hardware and their software and makes the experience very pleasurable. So this is pretty much, in my opinion, the perfect marriage of form and function. The size is great. It feels really good in the hands. It's narrow, and it's got a great grip. You're not going to drop this easily. It's light, but not too light, and the screen size, in my opinion, is great. The black levels are excellent. Not quite up to the AMOLED quality, but everything else, color, sharpness, it's all improved. And this is running Android 2.2, but it will be upgraded to 2.3 in the next couple months. And I'm not going to go too much into Sense because I've shown you Sense before on other devices. Suffice it to say that this runs very well. It's extremely smooth and fluid, and it allows you access to a number of HTC applications as well as the marketplace. I would like a little bit more choice of disconnecting from the HTC apps. For example, when you first plug in the charger on this device, it'll load up the car mode that you will have to manually disable. This Locations app comes preloaded with on the 8 GB SD card with about 4 GB of data that you have to get rid of if you want to free up some space. Not a big fan of that, however. HTC has their reasons for wanting to compete with Google's first-party apps. So, we can show you here, this is a Virgin phone, but it's running on Bell's HSPA Plus network. Supports up to 14.4 megabits down and 5.76 megabits up. As we know, with the Atrix, currently HSUPA functionality is disabled, which means that it's limited to less than 500 kilobits a second on the upload. This is not enabled on. This is enabled on this device, and I'll show you how fast pages load just now. Let me try NewYorkTimes.com just for a quick comparison. So that loads up the desktop site very quickly. It has flash support as well, and pinch to zoom, while not quite as smooth as the iPhone 4, certainly shows you the optimizations that HTC has made to the overall platform. The Nexus 1, when it was released with the first generation Snapdragon processor, and when multi-touch was enabled, it basically just stuttered all the way through a pinch to zoom experience. And as I said, this is not HTC trying to really change much. This is them just optimizing the experience, making sure that The hardware is married very well to the software, and you won't notice any slowdown on this, I can guarantee it. So I will also just wanted to quickly show you, let me go into the Messages app. So when you turn the phone to landscape, you'll see that on the right hand side, these buttons actually change orientation with the phone, and that's because there is a tiny little LCD underneath that's projecting an image on top here. If you look, if you look very closely, there's a little circle. I don't know if I'll be able to capture it, but there's basically a little circle of an LCD right underneath here. So when you change the orientation, it changes with it, and it's nice. They're a little bit fuzzy, and if you tilt it either way, the brightness is diminished quite significantly. You have to look at it straight on for the brightness to be equal to that of, say, the Desire HD, which does not have this feature. Bell includes a couple apps that are always on their smartphones. They have the TV and radio application that you do have to subscribe to, between $5 and $8 a month for each pack. As the network is quite fast, performance is excellent, and let's just see here. So you do have to subscribe. Let's see about CBC. So I'm going to subscribe here. It tells you the different price points. Let's go TV Variety. So now I'm subscribed. I go back. Let's try loading this up. Now there's no kickstand or anything here, unfortunately, but the 4-inch display is going to be an excellent performer.
By the end of the day, so I'd say there's a very strong chance that Andre Forbes will not be a Liberal candidate by the end of today.
And you can see the...
So what does that mean? Does that mean they nominate a new candidate?
So let me just mute that. So you can see that the viewing angles are actually pretty good. Especially for... this is natural light, so these displays tend to get washed out pretty easily, and you can tell that up until about, say, 90 degrees or 85 degrees, the performance is pretty good. Benchmarks. So I downloaded Speed Test. As you can see, the upload speed's much faster than in the Atrix. Actually, fantastic, 3 megs. So just do this one more time just to see if we can get consistent results. Now while we're waiting, yes, the specs on this are, last year's model kind of thing. This is a 2010 phone, launched in 2011, but you can tell that they've been very conscious to make subtle improvements to the device. What I've noticed is that certain things like the camera run very well. You can take fast shots. The implementation of the video camera is really good. It takes awesome 720p quality, and you can actually zoom and focus while you're shooting, which is fantastic. So there you go. You also have the option of switching to the front camera. There you go. 1.3 megapixels. It's actually pretty good quality. That's my ugly face. So that's that. LinPack, just to give you a sense of how it stands in terms of CPU benchmarks. And remember, this is Froyo. This is not Gingerbread, but 38. Excellent results. Okay, so just to conclude, I wanted to show the difference in size between the Desire HD, and this is running on Rogers. I just did a quick speed test. You can see color saturation a little bit better on the Incredible S. Screen size obviously smaller, so text is going to be sharper. Black levels on both of these devices are excellent, but you'll notice that the blacks are a little bit truer on the Super LCD. I found they're a little bit gray One of the nicer things about the additions to Sense are these incoming call features. So quiet ring on pickup, so your phone rings, you pick it up, it detects you've moved it, and it'll lower the ring so not to disturb anybody. There's the pocket mode, so when the sensor here detects that an incoming call is happening in your pocket, it will raise the volume, and then if you're on a conference call or you want to be on a conference call and you're on a phone call, you literally flip it over and it goes into speaker mode. Really, really conscientious features here, well thought out and very practical. You also have the ability to customize your ringtones and whatnot, and HTC offers a variety of those for download. Now you can see here that there's about 1 gigabyte of internal storage free, and there's an 8 gigabyte card included. See, what I was talking about here with the Desire HD is that hump there that you can't avoid with the camera, and it really goes to show you just how easily scratched it is and how important this battery cover is to the Incredible S. And you can see the Incredible S is a little bit thicker overall, but I prefer it in terms of holding it, using it on the phone in one hand. One-handed operation on this is much easier than on the Desire HD. And although I'm not quite a big fan of this, I wouldn't say wasted space, but certainly the phone could be a little bit shorter, and some of this space could be used better since the camera lens or the camera sensor is not that big. I'm not sure why they decided to waste all that space, but I like the design of the Desire HD in terms of like aesthetics, but overall the Incredible S just gives you a better experience when it comes to using the phone on a day-to-day basis. Also note that the 1450 milliamp hour battery is so much better than the 1230 milliamp battery on here. I found that performance has been so much improved on the Incredible S. I'm getting at least a day to a day and a half as opposed to a few hours on the Desire HD. I always have to have a charger with me. And overall, I feel like the Incredible S is just a better deal if you want a fully featured phone that will be maybe not future-proof, but certainly will be usable the way that any HTC device running Sense is usable in the next year. So, people running the Desire that was released in January 2010 or December, January 2010. This is a logical increase from the Incredible that was released about a year ago as well, and they still hold up very well. And even though the third generation Snapdragon processors are coming out very soon, this will not be surpassed so much in terms of overall UI responsiveness. Browsing, maybe playing Flash files and whatnot will be a bit smoother, and browsing and certainly games will be smoother with the new GPU that's coming out with the Pyramid and Evo 3D. But really, if you're looking for an Android device, the marketplace is mature. It's a lovely overall experience. You can get every app you think of to some extent that from iOS. And Android has matured to the point where HTC really knows what they're doing, and they have just created, in my opinion, as close to a perfect Android device as you can get. So this is my opinion. I'm giving it my editor's choice. I'm giving it my 9.5 out of 10 rating. I can't say the same for the Desire HD. I would probably give it about an 8.5, just due to the fact that it's sometimes, in my opinion, a little bit too cumbersome. The battery compartment here is a pain in the neck to get off. As well, this creaks because it's not on very securely. So when I'm holding the phone, talking on it up to my ear, and I hold my thumb here, I don't know if you can hear that, but it sounds like I'm pressing a button down, even though there's no button being pressed. So a lot of design improvements from the Desire HD to the Incredible S. They've had a lot of time to perfect the form, and as I said, I really do recommend this device. I cannot recommend it enough. So unless you're waiting for unless you need the speed and you need the Tegra 2 or you need the third generation Snapdragon processor, I really would give this a thought, considering that it's debuting at $99.95 on Bell and Virgin Mobile. and $499 without a contract. Now, if you are looking to root or mod the phone, unfortunately, there has been no leeway made yet. This has a signed bootloader and a lot of other security features that are preventing modders from hacking the phone. If you're satisfied with waiting for Gingerbread, which should come in the next couple months, you will be happy with this device. So that's it for me. My name is Daniel. Thanks for watching if you got through to the end. And this has been for Mobile Stewart. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.